right, good morning, everyone. It is a tremendous day for us. As everyone knows, the opioid crisis is not just affecting Onslow County, it's nationwide. And Onslow County, in partnership with Carteret County, Craven County, the City of Jacksonville, Onslow Memorial Hospital, and Carteret Healthcare, have decided to act locally to take one more step in combating that. I'm going to ask Ms. Sherry Slater here in a minute to give everyone an overview of this facility that you see behind us and how it all came about. First, I'd like to recognize some folks who are here with us today. Senator Harry Brown, Representative George Cleveland, Mayor Anita Dingler from Holly Ridge, Sheriff Hans Miller, Jacksonville Council Member Bob Warden, our Mayor Pro Tem of Jacksonville, Mike Lazzara, Onslow County School System Board Member Bob Williams, Onslow County System Board Member Bill Lanier. Joining us from Craven County are Mr. Thomas Mark, who is the Vice Chairman, and Commissioner Johnny Sampson Jr. From Carteret, we have Mr. Jimmy Farrington, Commissioner, Mr. Bob Kavanaugh, who's also Commissioner, and with me today are my bosses, Chairman Jack Bright, Vice Chairman Royce Bennett, Commissioner Shanahan, Commissioner Knapp, Commissioner Foster, Commissioner Paul Buchanan, and Commissioner Mark Price does send his regrets. He did serve on the task force, but he is representing the county at a North Carolina Association of County Commissioners meeting. And we will be hearing from several of our partners, but first, like I said, I would like to have my Assistant County Manager and Project Lead describe the project for us. Sherry?
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Thank you all for coming out this morning to help us celebrate this wonderful facility. In April of 2016, Onslow County was rocked by 3 events that elevated awareness of the substance abuse crisis and rocked the opioid epidemic as a priority concern. That month, Castlight Health released a report that the opioid crisis in America's workforce ranked Jacksonville as 12th in the nation for the opioid crisis. The report states that about 16,000 residents were struggling with prescription abuse, a numbering that's staggering to comprehend. That same month, 2 21-year-old residents who had been prominent high school athletes from the same county school died from overdoses. These events made the opioid epidemic local, real, and personal for many in Onslow County. In January of 2017, the Onslow County Board of Commissioners held a workshop to discuss their budget priorities for the coming year. As one of their 5 priorities for the county, having a facility-based crisis center in Onslow County became a priority. Immediately after, we began working with our partners that you've heard mentioned this morning. Some of them were immediate and some of them joined along the way, and we've been happy to have them all as we've battled this very significant issue. Onslow, Carteret, and Craven counties came together with the City of Jacksonville, Onslow Memorial Hospital and Carteret Healthcare, and Trillium Health Resources. And we've worked together to do what hasn't been done anywhere else, having all of these government organizations come together and provide the funding and the support and the infrastructure for a facility-based crisis center in our community. We've not had a crisis center since 2012 in Onslow County, a fact that is staggering and unacceptable given our ranking on this most important issue. In June of 2017, with the assistance of Senator Harry Brown and the North Carolina General Assembly, we were able to secure a grant from the Dorothea Dix Foundation. You might have noticed the name of the facility is the Dix Crisis Intervention Center, so that's the mystery solved for you on that one today. The funding from the grant, it has helped us to renovate this facility, bring it up to current standards, as well as provide the infrastructure and the furniture for the crisis center. So we're very happy to get to show you all of that today. You'll get to see all the work that we've been doing for the past couple of years. We began working with Smith Sennett Architecture, who did the redesign and helped us to identify the things that we needed in a facility of this type. And Daniels & Daniels Construction was able to bring that vision into the reality that you're going to see today. By March of 2018, which was just a year after these partners began working together, we had an interlocal agreement signed between all of these government bodies committing to funding this facility for the next 2 years and supporting it with their oversight and their involvement and all of the things that it's going to take to help make this a successful venture in our community. Recovery Innovations International was selected by Trillium Health Resources as the provider. You'll get to meet them today as well. They'll be inside answering questions about how the facility will run. And as a partner agency or as a community member, you can expect to have some input and some stakeholder meetings in the very near future where Recovery Innovations will be speaking with you about the needs of our communities collectively as you see them from the side that you view them from. So they'll know what things we can do to make this facility serve our communities and have the impact that we desire for it to have. I'm going to ask Mr. Cotton to come back up and introduce our partners as the ones that we've named today will be saying a few words as well. Thank you.
All right. So first things first, I'm going to recognize my bosses. I would like to start with Chairman Jack Bright.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Sherry. And thank all the commissioners for supporting this major endeavor with Trillium. I think we have a representative here from Trillium, David Tard in the back. Trillium covers 26 counties, a total of 1.4 million people that they actually cover. And their geographic area stretches from the Virginia line all the way down to South Carolina and all of the coastal counties. So that's a big catchment area that is managed by Trillium, that is our Medicaid management that the state authorizes for Medicaid reimbursements to the various agencies that they have providers for. Thank you, David, for being here. The detox center, once it did close, we had a sharp influx of need for a triage treatment facility. The city of Jacksonville and all the other counties, the city of Jacksonville, I think Chief is here, Chief Yanero. He brought it to our attention that it was costing the city of Jacksonville right at $1 million a year in resources in order to take care of the people with substance abuse and mental illness. So that, and the sheriff's office was involved with also having to take care of these folks and provide security and pick up and stay with the folks until we could get a permanent bed. This is a 16-bed facility. Once you see it inside, you'll see how important the investment is. And as Mr. Cotton mentioned, we have a lot of partners with this. If I could explain it like a big piece of puzzle, and you have to have all of the pieces in order to make it work. The county of Onslow couldn't have done this by themselves. So with the publicity and the help of some of the adjoining counties like Carteret County, Craven County, Onslow Memorial Hospital, Carteret Hospital, the city of Jacksonville, and Trillium, we were able to take those pieces of puzzle and put it together. And with the resources from all of those entities, we were able to make it work. And you'll see when you, if the ones of you tour this, you'll see what kind of facility we have. We had a couple of the commissioners that had a passion for this detox and crisis center to be opened back up. And I'll name one of them right now. One of them, two of them are on our task force. If you all know Commissioner Robin Knapp, he continually has pretty much said this was his campaign platform, and by God, with the support of the commissioners and a joint effort by everybody, we have got it. We are making it happen. So I'm thinking that he probably is still going to be involved in the process. I'm thinking that all of us will be involved in the process. We want to continue to make this happen. And I want to say one thing about one person that was a big contributor of this crisis center is one day during the process of getting this all organized and underground, above ground, I got a call, I received a call from Senator Harry Brown. I was at the house one day and he said, look, he said, we've got the Dix, Dorothea Dix property. We sold that property and we've got some money that might be available for bricks and mortar, so you can use that money to retrofit that building. I said, well, what do you need? He said, I need a letter from your agency saying and requesting that funding. So immediately I called Sherry Slater and she said, I don't think the ink dried before she got that letter to Senator Brown. And Senator Brown, is Senator Brown here somewhere? Senator Brown, would you come up and just tell us a little bit about that while you're right here?
Thank you, Jack. I was involved in a lot of early meetings as well. I was meeting with the sheriff and the chief and the hospital leadership and talking about the concern in the community. And of course, we all knew it was a statewide issue. And when the Dix property was sold in Raleigh, that money was put in reserve and it had to be used for mental health later on. But it really didn't stipulate how. So when this was brought forward, I said, this is perfect for what that money needs to be used for. So it was funny because I put it into our budget, and as soon as I put it in the budget, there were about 5 other communities that said, this is a great idea. And all of a sudden, we got about 5 of these that popped up across the state pretty quick. So it just showed me that the need was a statewide issue, and it surely was a need in our community. But, our folks, I think, reacted the quickest. So I was able to get on the front end of it and redirect some of that money, and here we are today. So, but it's a lot of partners. You're exactly right. And Commissioner Knapp, brought it to the forefront to start with. It was a key issue for him in his campaign. And then, of course, the disasters we had in the Sneads Ferry area in particular, with a few youth, really, I think, helped accelerate it. But again, it's a good partnership and something that was really needed in this community. And I also want to thank the other counties for getting involved, because it just makes it a stronger facility by doing that. So thank you for letting me speak a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Senator Brown. Give him a big hand because he's a $2 million partner. Thank you, Harry. With that being said, I'd like to invite the commissioners that want to make a comment to come up. I'll start with Vice Chairman, and then we'll go alphabetical order of the chairman, of the board. Thank you, sir.
I'll be brief, but I do want to say this was truly a joint effort, and it was the first major project that our board, elected in 2016, chose to take on. We made it a budget priority. We worked hard on it, and before we set out to this, we consulted with law enforcement and health officials, public health officials. We determined that this was a need for Onslow County, and that we could make this happen with a joint effort between a whole lot of partnerships. And I want to thank our county staff and Senator Brown for helping us with the funding. We're actually able to find funding that doesn't increase the amount of tax dollars that we're spending on health care. We were spending this amount on health care already in Onslow County, so it doesn't increase our property tax commitments. And I just want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you.
As usual, this is another great day in Onslow County, but there's another piece to this puzzle like Jack was talking about. It's the education side of the house for our law enforcement officers. And Sheriff Miller, but really Chief Yanero. Chief Yanero has been very instrumental with working with myself. I work at the college under David Heatherly, the president. And we brought the training, a CIT training together, which is crisis intervention training. We trained all our officers in Onslow County, And then the chief come to me one day and he says, we need mental health first aid. We're training those officers. We've done, I think, over 160 some officers so far. Here's the catch. It's going to help the hospital out so they don't have to have these people in the emergency room. They'll be able to come here. Our officers will be able to take this individual, bring them here, and get back on the street where they need to be. They need to be protecting our citizens. And Chief can tell you, sometimes they spent 45 minutes to 2.5 hours trying to get these people some care, some help, and they had to stay with them. So this is the great piece for me. It's been a great venture for the commissioners. Being a former law enforcer like Jack and Robin Knapp's been very instrumental in pushing hard on this. But it took the 5 of us, and that's where we are here today. Thank you.
This thing's as tall as I am. Well, I just want to say thank you, Jack, for your words, Senator Brown. But I got to be honest with you, I got to thank my wife, Kelly, who supported me through thick and thin. This is a passion of mine. And my wife, who's a therapist and a substance abuse counselor, go figure, she married a retired narc. So I guess we're a match made in heaven. But she supported me on this, and one of the things that I, from a law enforcement perspective, doing this for 27 years, I was always chasing the bad guy, the traffickers, the dope peddlers, putting them in jail, federal prison, whatever. I never stopped to breathe and worry about the people that were the victims of this. And I remember an incident where I chased an individual who wasn't married, but he had a kid with this young mother, and it was about 2 years before I retired. We tackled him, we did our thing, and the mother was strung out on opioids. And she had a 2-year-old son wrapped in a blanket that was covered in feces. So that was my turning point for me. And when I retired from law enforcement, I was very vocal about things until my wife said, you know, put your money where your mouth is and run. And so I did. And I can't thank her enough for this. And we've discussed this. This is very emotional for me because this facility, if you saw it in the spring of 2016, and Sherry can attest to this, when we met here, it wasn't a fun meeting. I could not believe the shape the building was in. Everything was just going wrong with it. But through a partnership, through our commissioners who recognized the need as well, and through the city of Jacksonville initially, until we got our other partners, you know, we decided to form a task force to find a way to make it happen, the funding, et cetera. And I got to tell you, and I'll say it over and over and over again, Senator Harry Brown, you are absolutely huge in this project with that $2 million. That came in so handy, and you're going to see the fruits of that money when you tour the facility because it's state of the art. I'm just impressed. And I also remember, you know, one Friday afternoon, I went and met Chief Yanero for about 3 hours. And we sat and talked about this thing constantly and talked about the statistics, and I could see the passion and fire in his heart to take this endeavor on. And to me, it's a big deal for Onslow County. You know, this is a huge, huge, huge step for Onslow County. It's not an end-all to end-all. But with the opioid crisis in our own backyard, we have to tackle it, we have to address it, and then move to the next step in the future. You know, this is the beginning, and we have to start somewhere. And I'll give you something about the opioids. In 2012, when I left NCIS, the biggest cases that we were running were not crack cocaine, it wasn't LSD, it wasn't marijuana, none of that stuff, or heroin, even though heroin was huge and it still is in Wilmington. The biggest cases that we were running were trafficking in opioids and the people that we saw during the course of our investigations that were addicted to this stuff. It affected everybody. It affected, you know, a Harvard doctor who was a Navy lieutenant, a Harvard graduate who was a doctor in the United States Navy, and he got addicted and started selling. So it affects all lives across the board. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, it doesn't matter what socioeconomic background you come from. It knows no boundaries. So I want to thank everybody out here today. I want to thank everybody for your support, all the partners, especially Farrington, Commissioner Farrington. Him and I had some talks about this and shared the same ideology, and we shared some good times. But thank you very much. This is a huge blessing for Onslow County. It's a huge start. I'm really looking forward to the providers. And David, where are you, David Tart? I remember our first meeting, and we discussed this at length, and I can't say enough about your cooperation and appreciation for you seeing the vision as we did to carry this project forward. So you have my heartfelt thank you. Thank you very much.
Now I'd like for everyone to hear from some of our partners. First, I'd like to invite Craven County Vice Chairman Thomas Mark.
Thank you very much, David and Sherry. You know, I got really involved in opioid problems back in 2017 when we were at a convention, and I really took it to heart. And so as chairman, when I came back, I held a meeting. I invited all the executive people in Craven County and the elected officials, and we had 92 people there, and that was the start of our getting involved in the drug problem. From there, I became chairman again in 18, and I found out about this through one of our vice chairman at that time, which was Scott Dacey, and Jack Veit, our county manager. And I said, let's go for it. I think this is a terrific thing. And I think it's a terrific thing that counties and cities can get together and work together to the goal of licking opioid abuse and mental abuse. And I think in the future, counties should handle all things that are a problem like this and get together and join forces. And I want to thank everybody that's been here today, and I want to thank you. Thank you.
Carteret County Commissioner Jimmy Farrington.
Thank you, everyone. This really represents hope. You got me on the emotional thing, but you should have seen some of the original meetings with Commissioner Knapp and Police Chief Yanero. There's so much passion, trying to just make a difference and create some hope. Harry, thank you so much for not only what you do for Onslow County, but all of Eastern North Carolina. It's amazing. Partnerships like this, as just was said, is what's going to help us solve these problems. And I'm so proud to just be a part of it and just really see it in action. If you're a family member or you're anyone and you don't think you're affected by this, you're affected by this, and we all understand that. And this is going to bring a lot of hope to our area. And I just thank you for the fact that it snowballed and turned into a partnership with Craven County, Carteret Health, the City of Jacksonville, Onslow Memorial Hospital, and of course the Onslow County Commissioners for allowing us to come into this. The building was here. They didn't have to let us in, and it really just created a snowball effect. In our early meetings, what was really exciting too was we were working with, this is just early groups because this center had closed about 7 years ago, which we did not want to happen. But we worked directly with the Carteret Healthcare emergency room staff, Onslow County Memorial Hospital emergency staff, and that's really what got me so excited about the whole thing and the possibility that would happen. And there were so many times that I said, there's just no way it can happen. $1.5 million is a lot of money. And how can you put it all together to make it work? But it was passion. Again, Commissioner Knapp, thank you for all the passion you had. I started out with Jack when we originally started on the Onslow Carteret board, which then turned to Coastal Care. And I've only been a commissioner for 6 years, but this has been a journey, and I just really am excited, and thank you all for making it happen.
Now I'd like to invite City of Jacksonville Mayor Pro Tem Mike Lazar.
Good morning, everyone. I'm certainly honored and privileged to be here this morning on behalf of Mayor Sammy Phillips and the Jacksonville City Council, today is certainly a day to celebrate, especially for the power of partnerships. Partnerships that get things done. In government terms, this facility has happened at near lightning speeds. The lightning speed was powered by personal accounts of the opioid crisis in our community. The partnerships were powered by those who came together concerned about their neighbors, their children, their friends, and the impact to our community. Together, this has accomplished a nearly unique set of circumstances. A partnership between the city and the county that works. And that's extremely important to say it again. A partnership that works between the city and the county. A regional partnership that includes entities outside of our county. That also works. A partnership that leverages our relationship with others who care. One of those partners is Senator Harry Brown. He saw what was going on in our community and won funding that helped make this project possible. On behalf of the mayor and the city council, I want to personally thank Senator Brown for his support. It means a great deal to this community, and we know that your responsibility is huge, and you have to think more than Onslow County, and we really appreciate your efforts in that area. I want to thank the hospital, to the state officials, and especially our regional partners. We thank our partners, the county commissioners. It was February 20th, 2017 that the city and county met in a joint session to talk about this problem. Here now, 23 months and 27 days later, we get to open the doors. We also want to thank Chief Mike Yanero, whose siren call for something to be done led us to this solution. I want to thank Sherry Slater for her unique work to champion this cause. And thanks to the city staff and all others who kept us on task so that we could enjoy this ceremony today. A few months ago, we noted how as a nation the opioid crisis was leveling off. But for Jacksonville, Chief Yanero says in the last 3 years, crisis intervention calls in the city of Jacksonville have increased 42%. Attempted suicides have increased 60%. That's an insurmountable number. And drug overdoses have increased by 69%. So the numbers are not getting better. They continue to be worsened, and we have a great deal of work to do. Last year, Jacksonville had 12 opioid overdose deaths. Unacceptable. I want to leave you with the thought of the positive impact this facility will have in the future. There will be lives saved. And Commissioner Knapp and I have talked about this over and over again. If we can just save one life, then it will be all worth it. One life. People will know that others care about them. Our community will benefit. We know this from the positive impact a few people have already accomplished by the power of partnerships. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to invite Carteret Healthcare Vice President of Patient Care Services, Ms. Cindy Jones.
Good morning. Dick Brevnick, our CEO and president, could not be here this morning, but I would just like to say thank you. This has been a wonderful partnership, and it will continue to be. What a beautiful day to celebrate. So thank you to everyone. This is wonderful. Thank you.
And the man that everyone's been talking about, Trillium Health Resources Senior Regional Director, Mr. David Tart.
Thank you, David. That's a better introduction than I deserve. I'm David Tart. I'm the Southern Regional Director for Trillium Health Resources. And from the beginning, this has been a county-led initiative. So thank you very much for your efforts on behalf of your citizens. When our CEO, Lisa Wainwright, came to me in the spring of 2016 and told me that we had agreed to partner with Onslow County to bring life back to this facility that had lain dormant for so long, I was, of course, excited because I knew of the need here in Onslow County. But I also knew of the history of the facility and some of the difficulties and barriers to it remaining operational in the past. And I also had some sense of the magnitude of the tasks that would be required to bring it back to life. And to be honest with you, I wasn't entirely optimistic that we would be able to pull it off. But if any of you know the word voluntold, in that meeting with our CEO that day, I was voluntold that I would be the project facilitator on our side. So we pretty quickly came together with the Onslow County representatives and began to bring the people into the room who we felt needed to be there if we were going to make this happen. And that was a piece I didn't know. And ultimately the piece that led to the success of the project was the caliber of the leadership in your community. If you live in the city of Jacksonville or anywhere in Onslow County or Carteret County or Craven County, you should know that you're represented at the highest levels in a spectacular way. And from your county commissioners to your city council representatives to law enforcement leadership and hospital leadership, county government leadership, you're represented by people that were tenacious and unwavering in their support of this project. So there are way too many people to list, and I wouldn't want to risk forgetting someone, but know that you've seen many of them today up here at the podium. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one person, and you've already heard about her today, and she is really the highlight today. That's Sherry Slater. Sherry's your assistant county manager here in Onslow County, and those of you that know her already know this, but if you don't know her, she's the glue that holds a lot of things together in human services in Onslow County, and this project is no different. I can honestly tell you that without Sherry, I don't believe we would be here on this day. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you, representatives of the counties and hospitals, law enforcement, city of Jacksonville, and just personally from me, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this project. It's very rare in a person's career that you get to cooperate with individuals of this status, see so many people come together to do something good, something that's going to make a difference in people's lives and save lives, as you've heard here today. So thanks again.
So now I would like to invite all the Onslow County Board of Commissioners, all of our partners, Craven County, Carteret County, OMH, Carteret Health Systems, City of Jacksonville to join us next to the building to do our ribbon cutting.
Hi, I'm Laura.